guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. So today's video is about life after uni and the struggle with job interviews. One thing I just really want to stress if you're currently in uni is the fact that a degree doesn't guarantee a job, so there needs to be something that differentiates you from everyone else that is applying for the same job as you. Because to be honest,
everyone has a degree.
If you're currently in uni, get some work experience that will go on your CV to show that at least you're doing something or you did not sort of just sit idle at uni. Failing job interviews. I know how it feels to fail a job interview, especially for a job that you really wanted. I think it's the worst feeling ever when you receive that phone call and the recruiter or the recruiter is literally like, they thought you were overqualified or they thought you were not the best fit. You don't have any experience. Do you know what really bugs me, right? When companies expect you to have experience but they're not willing to employ you so you can gain that experience.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get it.
However, it is part of life, so if you're going through that process, you just need to keep your head high and stay motivated. Life after uni tip number 1. Do not be in a rush and don't compare yourself to others. If someone finds a job straight after uni and you don't, that doesn't mean you're worse off than they are. Some people find jobs early and lose them. Some people find jobs late and hold on to them. So don't compare yourself, just keep working hard and stay focused. Tip number 2, you're most likely not going to find your perfect job. When I was at uni, I was working full time and I got to sort of try out a lot of different roles. I think I did about 4 or 5 different roles within 3 years, and even then I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do after those years. And even the current role that I'm in now is something completely different to what I was doing before. If you find something that is necessarily not what you want, but it will give you experience and it will give you the opportunity to build on yourself, literally don't let it slip. Definitely pursue it. Tip number 3, you might have to apply for at least 50 jobs before you actually even get an interview. It happens. Sometimes you have to sort of keep yourself motivated and send out those applications anyway. Chances are you might end up in a role that you probably do not like. I've done a few roles or had a few roles that I absolutely detested and I absolutely hated, but sometimes the best way to look at it is from the point of view that you're probably building experience from it. But on the other side, if a job really makes you unhappy, so unhappy to the point where you can't even wake up in the morning to go to it, it's probably not the best job for you. So yeah, might be time to let it go. Prep for your interviews. Make sure that you've prepped for your interviews. If you have friends or family, get them to test you and try and prep for the interview. Interview tip number 1, you make your first impression as soon as you walk through the door. Sometimes after your interview, the interviewer will go and ask the receptionist,
oh, what did you think about this person? Do you think they'd be a good fit?
Make sure that your dress is ironed and you look like you're ready for it. Don't sit down slouched and look unprepared, like you're not prepared for the job role. I had a telephone interview once and then mid-telephone interview, my mum locked herself out. It was such a hot mess because my mum was screaming. The interviewer could hear my mum screaming over the phone and I had to go and get the door, and it was just a hot mess. So if you have a telephone interview, find some place quiet and make sure that no one is going to interrupt you, because they never called me back here and I don't blame them because I probably did not make a good impression. So even when you have a telephone interview, make sure that you're making a good impression. A lot of the time an interviewer can tell by your voice and your body language. So even when the interviewer is not in front of you, make sure that you have a positive body language, because a lot of the time some people can tell over the phone. Another tip is to always remember to answer the question. As I'm being asked the question, I note down keywords, because the keywords tell you what you need to answer. So I note down the keywords so that as I'm answering a question, I can look on the paper, remember the question was actually about, and make sure that I actually answer the question. I don't want the situation whereby you've been asked question A and then you end up question B. I remember I had an interview, right, and they asked me to tell I think it's about tell me a time where you helped a customer or something. And I used to work at a phone shop, and once I had a blind customer come in and I think I helped him quite a lot and he left happy, but I don't know what happened. In the interview I ended up talking about how I helped the blind customer, and somehow when the blind customer left the shop he could see and all types of nonsense, and I didn't even realize that the story didn't make sense. Because I completely forgot the question. So make sure that whatever question you're answering, you note down some keywords so that you remember. And don't lie, yeah? Because if you lie, the interviewer will know. They will actually know.
I walked out of that interview and I was just like, oh my god, like what did I say? What did I actually say?
And follow up after the interview and always request for feedback. Request for feedback so that you know what you can improve on next. I think that summarizes the tips. Now, let's say after the brouhaha, after the interviewer comes back and you have not been offered the job. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise, and I'll say this again, sometimes not getting the job you applied for is a blessing in disguise. So when you go to an interview, it's not so much about the job, if that makes sense. I think a lot of the time it's 10% about the role and 90% about who you are, whether you will fit in the team. Because you need to remember, you're going to be working with a group of people, and being able to relate to them and work with them is quite important. If you're not offered a job, some interviewers will say because of experience, but most likely it's because of the team fit. And if it's because of a team fit, you're better off without the job than with the job, because you don't really want to be working in a team where you don't fit in and you're always paranoid and anxious and blah blah blah. It's just not worth it. Sometimes you can get 100 job rejections and then on the next one you get the job, and sometimes it can take years, it can take months. It takes a lot of time to find a job, and it takes a lot of patience. So be confident as you search for your job. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.